So guys, it will shock you to know that David Hundeyin actually wrote to Elon Musk telling him that something was going wrong in the American government. How money was being sent to Nigeria and other places. Even after Trump was inaugurated, they quickly began to push out money in the name of USAID to places like Nigeria to fund Boko Haram. So David Hundeyin could not hold his peace. He went ahead to expose it to Elon Musk, and guess what? That was how all this began. Take a look for yourself what David Hundeyin did. Just watch for yourself.
Well, let's take this tweet from David Hundeyin, who actually blew the whistle in the first place. David Hundeyin wrote to Elon Musk. He wrote, "Hi Elon Musk, here are some cut and dried cases of US aid in Nigeria, corruption and money laundering you may want to look into." On January 16, 2025, just 4 days before Donald Trump's inauguration, USAID made a $3.3 million payment to a vendor in Nigeria called Dye Global LLC. I looked into the payment history and saw that between August 2020 and January 2025, at least $48 million of US taxpayers' money supposedly invested in Nigeria went to Dye Global LLC, registered in Bethesda, Maryland. So I looked into Dye Global's activities in Nigeria, and it turns out to be a run-of-the-mill climate NGO, which organizes meetings and seminars and stages photos with politicians, and little else. Yet nearly all of its payments from USAID in Nigeria are labeled all other professional, scientific, and technical services. I mean, since Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th, at least $799,000 of U.S. taxpayers' money has been paid by USAID to recipients in Nigeria, marked undisclosed or miscellaneous. At least $446,000 of these undisclosed recipients in Nigeria were sent across 8 payments between January 29th and January 30th. Meanwhile, you will remember that U.S. President ordered USAID to halt all payments on January 28th. USAID Nigeria disobeyed a direct instruction from the U.S. President and spent the next 24 hours after the instruction frivolously shelling out $500,000 of U.S. taxpayers' money to recipients in Nigeria marked undisclosed. I'll leave the implications of this to you. Well, David Hundeyin had also alleged that Barack Obama's government was responsible for unseating Goodluck Jonathan using Boko Haram and staging the Chibok girls' kidnap, sparking the hashtag #BringBackOurGirls movement. Well, the post quickly gained momentum, with some ex-users sharing Goodluck Jonathan's interview after he lost the election.
Of interference by the Obama's government was very overwhelming. It's not as if I couldn't have won the election even with that. But if, by my own thinking, and also the way some other people look at it, they go outside the normal diplomatic relationship, then it should be mentioned. Sending that person to Nigeria at the eve of election, after Obama even issued a statement directing Nigerians to vote for the next chapter, that tells you something. And we should not sweep these things under the carpet. If a foreign country, or an African country, or even America or any other country interferes with our own elections, we should mention it.
Professor Killer, I was hearing you cracking up when Jonathan was saying that tells you something. Rufy on fire. Please unpack these details.
I couldn't hear the entire interview.
Oh, you didn't hear the interview? Okay, no problem.
But
that's Jonathan's piece when he was explaining about it. He read it and I was overwhelmed.
Like he said that Obama had undue influence on his election.
On the election.
Even before the announcement, he had said, let's vote for
another chapter.
Yeah, for another chapter. So just Obama's influence.
Number one thing.
Yes.
Where is facts? The first story you brought forward,
yes,
David showed facts.
Correct.
Of an undisclosed
listed
period.
them and he had pictures,
that's
images,
just like the
everything.
facts I'm asking for. That where was the line item of a company related to Boko Haram and all of that? That's just all I'm asking for. Okay, I and somebody were having a conversation while all of this was going on as regards this facts and documents, and we're having a conversation as regards when was the atrocities in Congo first revealed? I As at 1890s, a man called Morel had set up a newspaper out of Congo where he was revealing the atrocities. He used to work for the Elder Dempster line, and he discovered that the guns they were bringing in, they were bringing in guns from Belgium, and they were taking out minerals from Congo. As at 1890, the facts were there. The Lumumba files, there was a quick declassification of those files. As at the 60s, as at 64, we know those files. Where are the empirical files to be able to show that? They've posited all sorts of things by saying, they even said up to the extent that because David Axelrod worked for them, Tinubu and all of that, was that free? It was a service. Anybody employs an election manager. So them Tinubu using David Axelrod was a service and they paid for. They employ an election manager. So Jonathan saying, oh, it was because of this and all of that. They even linked it to the same-sex marriage bill and all of that. It was the National Assembly that passed that bill. So where are his facts? Because the part of his facts he did not also tell us is that the 2015 election, I can give you with empirical facts that is rigging that outweighed rigging.
Do you have the facts here, Rufai?
Oh, I'll give you the facts.
Empirically.
I'll give you the facts, and I've even enunciated them.
Okay, really quickly.
Rivers State election, for instance. How did the PDP get over 1 million votes in Rivers? Since we started using beavers, has anybody gotten 1.4 million votes? Kanu election, for instance. How did the APC get over 1.5 million votes in Kanu 2015 election? So everybody held their stronghold.
Right.
One passed the other one.
All right.
Those are facts based on the election reports. Because if they are not facts, the truth is, Nigerian population has increased since 2015. You have more voters on the election register now than it was in 2015. But why is it that all of a sudden the margin of win and the numbers have reduced tremendously?
Questions.
So
Good
let's
questions.
stop deceiving ourselves. Like I told Dr. Abati the other day, until we get to the point that Mr. Jonathan will accept, and I think he has already accepted this, that in that election, he lost fair and square.
No, you said they beat him.
They beat him. There were many other factors.
That's what Rufai said.
If he says, okay, there was this American dynamics, if he can give me a copious report on it and how the role America played and how they... I mean, I will take it.
All right.
But till then, it's in the realm of allegation and speculation.
All right, there was a huge argument earlier when I came in the studio, and I would like your quick comments on that argument, whether or not the U.S. should provide facts or what the rep had said was to be taken.
So the first thing I'll make, the first
with a
thing I
pinch of
said,
salt or
yes,
not.
the first thing I mentioned was that when a congressman, someone of that caliber, comes out to make allegations like that, then it carries weight more than just a man on the street who is saying that. The assumption is that for him to come out to say something like that, then he must have some kind of information that is not privy to the public as at yet. The second thing I said, and during this was during the interview with Professor Akiemi, was that the Chief of Defense Staff himself had alluded to the fact that there must be some conspiracy with international non-governmental organizations who have trained Boko Haram, funded Boko Haram because of what they have received post getting some or arresting some of these Boko Haram insurgents, that they had foreign currencies on them. They seem to be quite sophisticated, so they must have international backing. That's second.
Yes.
Now, with all of this coming together, the next thing I would expect the Nigerian state to do would be to investigate further. Simple. Don't forget that internally as well, we have people who are said to be saboteurs. They cannot work in isolation. They have people who they are colluding with if the allegation proves to be true. There's not a lot we can do with America, as Professor Kemi said, but there's a lot we can do with our own internal saboteurs. Finally, on this point, while we're speaking, a girl who lost her brother, who was a soldier to Boko Haram, said that they found out that some of the soldiers within the camp were also complicit. They were used as well, and I want some of them would take a break just as they were about to come and attack. And on one of those occasions, when one of them was in Mars, they saw one of their fellow members. So a lot of things around this. Investigations is just that we just have financiers and all of that, and then this will end, but we never have an investigation. It just goes on there.
Speaking about investigation, internal saboteurs, and all of that, in another development, Binance executive Tigran Gambaryan was trending over the weekend after he doubled down on his allegations, insisting that Nigerian government officials demanded bribe from him. Gambaryan was detained in Nigeria from February to October 2024 for alleged money laundering and economic destabilization attributed to Binance's activities in Nigeria. Recounting his experience in a post on X, Gambaryan alleged that certain Nigerian lawmakers demanded substantial bribes in cryptocurrency to the tune of $150 million. He also claimed that Nuhu Ribadu, the national security advisor, sought significant payouts from Binance for his political ambition, while the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, in a swift rebuttal, dismissed Gambaryan's allegations as outrageous and defamatory, adding that the Nigerian government had rejected a $5 million offer from Binance intended to secure Gambaryan's release, but rather opted for a more favorable settlement with the U.S. government. Professor Kila, I know that you're abreast with this conversation, but you know it's a huge allegation, huge defamation case coming for Tigran at this moment. But let me just take some reaction. Let me take a reaction from Ben Murray Bruce, who wrote, I've known Malam Nuhu Ribadu my entire life, and I can say with absolute certainty that he is incapable of allegations being leveled against him. I challenge Tigran Gambaryan to undergo a lie detector test if he genuinely believes the claims he has made. It is exhausting to witness individuals repeatedly dragging Nigeria's name through the mud with baseless accusations and fabricated evidence. Tigran Gambaryan should consider himself fortunate to have been allowed to leave, because if Nuhu had his way, I am confident, or supremely confident, he would have ensured that he remained behind bars for 100 years, I swear on my life. Guma is lying, and I demand that Tigran submit to a lie detector test. I mean, this is a statement. I mean, I didn't know that Ben Bruce and Nuhu Ribadu were that close. I mean, this comment was quite viral also. He says he can swear on his life that Nuhu Ribadu will not do that. But you know, the federal government's rebuttal was quite strong. Yeah. Even Tigran responded to that, and I'll read a part of his tweet. And he wrote, responding to the federal government, saying, you investigated, yet you didn't take a statement from me. A person with direct knowledge. What a joke. You dragged my name through the mud for the past year with zero evidence against me, nearly killed me and caused trauma to my family. And now you have the nerve to talk about defamation? I'll put my credibility on the line anytime. You mean like last time in court when your attorneys didn't even show up to the human rights suit in Abuja? Get your facts straight. I am done with this foolishness. I said my part. I'll be off Twitter, which is X, now, since it's pointless to argue with evil. This man is doubling down, saying that he is absolutely correct to say that Nuhu Ribadu and those three lawmakers, who he named actually in his tweet, asked him for money boldly.
Well, it's a fascinating, enjoyable case if it were not for the reality that affects Nigeria. But we must be very clear with ourselves. It is unfortunate, but it is true that it is easy to believe that Nigerian officials ask people for bribe. And that is something we need to work on. There's no point. I mean, good luck to Ben Bruce, who wants to swear on his life. I would tell him to take a test detector as well.
A lie detector.
A lie detector as well.
Okay.
To say where he's been. Good luck to him that believes so much in anybody in Nigeria. They say, no, I know they will never take bribe. It's a good thing to have people like that. But history and fact does not demonstrate it, that we have such a situation, such a system. I think what we need to do is to take it one by one. Unfortunately, again, the man was right when he said, you investigated something and you took no documents from me. You said you are following a process and your attorneys do not appear in court. You see, these are the kind of haphazardness, these are the kind of little anyhowness that we do, that we need to change. If we want our country to be great enough where people will not accuse us of taking bribe, or where we will not be denied visa, we will not inflate the number of people applying for visa, and we will not get angry for that.
Shots fired.
We should just do little things in the right way. That's all we need. No big magic. Just a lot of people doing little things the right way, and this country will be great.
Okay. I mean, just to state the fact again, to be clear, that, you know, I believe that in the tweet that he had who put out about Nuhu Ribadu, just to clarify, he didn't say Nuhu Ribadu asked for money. Just to clarify that again. But I mean, I really love your analysis on this topic. And I think that, I mean, I saw you were taken aback by his statement about whether, you know, government officials are corrupt or not. But, you know, it's easy for people to think that because of the index out there. And, you know, it's good that we'll continue on this story. We'll follow up and investigate the story. Huge defamation.
Huge. You mentioned names.
And there's too many names. Important names as well. Well, in Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke, in a strong rebuke on Sunday, accused his predecessor, Boyega Oyetola, of allegedly planning mayhem in the state by issuing illegal directives to security operatives to enforce a non-existent court ruling to reinstate sacked local government chairpersons. Adeleke made the allegations during a press conference, saying that Oyetola is enforcing illegality simply because he's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's nephew. Let's take a look at that video before we come back for a discussion.
I, however, regret to inform Mr. President and the public that Mr. Boyega Oyetola has concluded an arrangement to cause mayhem in Osun State, starting from Monday. He is issuing illegal directives to security operatives to enforce illegality simply because he is nephew of Mr. President. I choose to allow the nation before my people are killed or maimed by a minister dropping the name of Mr. President in connivance with the Osun State security operatives obeying unlawful orders. The bone of contention is the brazen effrontery to return to office council chairman sacked by a substitute court judgment using a different court decision, which has no consequential order.
I mean, Governor Adeleke there, really strong and stern. I mean, what got a lot of people talking on social media was the fact that he said, you know, Oyetola is going around with this illegality because he's President Tinubu's nephew. Yeah. I mean, that was a strong statement, really.
Well, anytime I hear Adeleke talk, my first question is, did he dance before he said it? Or
did he dance before
after he said it? But this is a strong allegation, and we must put in the context, you know, never mind if it's anybody's nephew. Point is, Adeleke is the chief security officer of the state. If he thinks somebody is planning to invoke chaos or cause chaos in the state, he has not only the right, but the duty to point it out. But although he must be based on fact as well. But I think at this point, the next step should be for the security agents to be on alert and maybe send a note to Oyetola saying, "Dear sir, we understand you have evil intention. Please don't do it, because if you do it, we'll beat you black and blue," as Rufai will say.
Can I just say something very quick? This is why a lot of people are pushing for state police.
Yes.
Because people have said, oh, why is he coming out? He's not the chief security officer of the state. Let him handle his state. Yeah. But there are limits to his power because there's still federal might at play. And if federal might is backing Oyetola, allegedly, then he's at a disadvantage, even though he's the governor and the chief security officer of the state. So he did what was in the best interest of the state. Come out now and call it out while still trying to find out how to deal with the issue internally.
Absolutely.
So good one for him.
Yes, we'll follow up on the story as always. Well, let's head over to Enugu State now, where the state government has refuted claims that it demolished a building with occupants still inside. The building was reported to be located in Penko's Agbakal axis of Enugu Metropolis. The governor's media aide described the video as misleading, saying that the video was not from Enugu State, but somewhere in the north. Let's take a look at that video. This was a shocking video to see. This demolition has gone to the extent. But this media aide from Enugu State, his name is Ruben Onyushi, Senior Special Assistant to the Governor of Enugu. He posted this rebuttal on Facebook, but I'm charging him to bring evidence of where that actual incident occurred. Because we had people in Enugu saying that that's where it happened, but the state government has said that, you know, the demolition exercise has been legal, and a lot of people in Enugu state are very proud of the governor for all the demolition exercises that he's been doing so far. I mean, I've seen some videos from Enugu state, but we are going to follow up on this story hopefully tomorrow, because I want a detailed response as to where that incident occurred, what part of the north that incident occurred, and who were those people that were inside the building as the demolition was going on.
So guys, it will shock you to know that the Nigerian government, I mean the politicians we have in this country, they don't care about the people. It is really so shocking how the APC could come up with this kind of strategy, that the only way they could oust Jonathan was to connive with the American government with all kinds of things that has to do with insecurity. You can imagine going to this extent that we all are seeing today. This is unbelievable. Can you just imagine, you know, the government of the day conniving with another foreign power to oust, you know, the sitting government, and the only thing they could come up with is to go ahead and forge, or will I say fabricate, insecurity in a peaceful nation. So guys, thanks to David Hundeyin, who went ahead to notify Elon Musk, telling Elon Musk that something was going wrong, you know, in Nigeria, and see how they are sending money into Nigeria because of, you know, they want insecurity in Nigeria to continue. So guys, it is so heartbreaking to see that Obama is the one being called out in all this. An African born, an African person, because he's now in the US, he's now a citizen of the US. He wanted, see what he did in Libya. See how Libya ended. That was actually what they planned for Nigeria. Now, thanks to Donald Trump, that their funds are being stopped. We cannot but, you know, wait to see this really happen. Because, like we're being told, people thought it was France. People thought it was France. Now it is being said that it is America, and all this were being done. The American people didn't know, in the name of aid, sending all this money to Pakistan, Afghanistan. And what joy does it? Oh my God. This is really making me to rethink, like when, Trump will come up to say Obama is not a Christian, Obama is a Muslim. I don't know how to like join all this together. So does it mean he enjoyed what these extremists were doing? For him to allow taxpayers' money to be sent to all these bad guys? I don't understand. And all this happened under the watch of an African-born leader in the US. So guys, another thing I wanted you guys to think about is, you know, having the APC desperate for power. They wanted power at all costs. So they were ready to use Boko Haram and whatever to oust Jonathan. You can see the desperation. We are calling Obama. Those APC leaders who were going for meeting and were told that even some people from US came to Nigeria, you know, in the night, like in Nicodemus, to have meeting with Obama's officials. They came to Nigeria to have meetings. And they were busy going to America in secret to go discuss how they are going to oust Jonathan. And they ended up ousting Jonathan. But where is Nigeria since Jonathan left? They destroyed everything. The economy was green under Jonathan. Now, since then, the Nigerian economy has never recovered and is far from recovering. Because all these things you see is better today. They are just trying to patch. There is no, you know, consistent way to keep the economy moving. Sometimes they print money. Sometimes they manipulate figures. Sometimes they tell you there is no unemployment in Nigeria. Sometimes you hear all kinds of things to see if they will stabilize the economy. Since Jonathan left, yes, they wanted Jonathan to leave. Thanks to God that Jonathan is a mature man. He said his life does not worth a drop of blood from a Nigerian. And that was why he just stepped down. So you can imagine if Jonathan had tried to say, no, let's fight it to finish. I don't know what would have become of Nigeria today. So guys, it's really so sad, seeing what is happening in this country and the desperation among our politicians. See what they are doing even during election. Nobody wants to hold re-election for people to decide who becomes the leader. I just pray that with Donald Trump in power, things will work better. And I must say very big kudos to David Hundeyin. David Hundeyin is going to keep exposing them. Share 2027 will soon come. Let's see all their evil. David uncovers them. He will keep writing to Elon Musk. Let the world begin to see, the wind will blow. They will see the nyash of fowl in Nigeria. Because these people, they are not ready for the change we all are yearning for. They are just there for themselves. See, since APC took over, what has become of Nigeria? The country is going down. Everything is plunging down, sliding, because we have people who are just power hunger, that have power mongers or what. They just want to be in power. And see, they've taken over. What has happened to Nigeria? Nigeria is collapsing. Nigerians are running away. People prefer even just Ghana here, It's not like a paradise. South Africa is not like heaven. Nigerians are running away from their own country when we are supposed to be leaders. They've destroyed